Hi, it's Bernadette Jansen, and thanks for joining me again. This is the third of a 6-session mini course called Renovation Profit Blueprint, in which I'm giving you an overview in the process of renovating a property for profit. We're mainly focusing on a profit to buy and renovate, but there will be some references to renovating to rent. Now, tonight we're covering finding a house and a suitable house and identifying the potential in it. So finding a property with the right things wrong with it and identifying the potential. I heard it described once as the right sort of ugly, and I think that that's a pretty apt description because you want that property to be as ugly or as stinky enough to put people off and so keep your buying price down. In the house hunting section of this session, we'll be talking about the criteria for choosing properties to inspect, where to find the properties, tools to manage the search, how to perform the inspections, the due diligence process, and then looking at working out what renovations to do to the property to make money. Firstly, the criteria for selecting properties to look at. The research you've done and the preparation of your renovation blueprint has formed the heavy lifting for this task. You have an outline of what the ideal property is for the reno that will respond to a need in your market, and you have determined the price range and the location needs. In our suburb, we have a couple of types of buyers. Families wanting to send their children to the local schools, then we have older couples wanting to downsize locally. The latter group are being well catered for. In fact, I think we might be heading for a glut. Developers are building downsizer properties pretty well everywhere. However, the families are still the main market. With location, there are macro issues such as the distance from shops and public transport. Our ideal location is a radius of 500 metres to 1 kilometre from the station, and so that makes us quite straightforward to search, Needs to be no more than 10 minutes walk from the station, but not too close either, because then you have issues with parking out, with people leaving their cars to catch the train and so on. The micro issues with location are usually street issues such as battle axe blocks, high or low side of the road, and proximity to the water can be a positive, or proximity to a main road or traffic lights can be a negative. Then there are the negatives such as trees. We have a rising Chinese population. It's common that they shy away from trees. However, the suburb is known for its leafiness, and that doesn't appear to affect the saleability too much. Buyers in other areas might find trees an absolute no-no. Where to look for properties? Obviously, I have the internet. That's the first port of call, but you need to be a bit creative. The local paper is also a common place to look. The bigger papers aren't much chop anymore, but local real estate guides still get read. The agents like them because they are comparatively cheap to advertise, so they'll spend money on big photos and whatever. So you can lodge your requirements with agents, and they have renovators on their books that they contact when something comes up. It is better if you can get to a property before everyone else gets to it. When you've been doing this for a while, you find people come to you when they hear of a property. I found out about my friend's mum wanting to subdivide her block. I was able to buy the block from her, and it was a win-win. She avoided the agent's fees and the hoo-ha, and I was able to help with the subdivision. And don't be afraid to drop a note in someone's letterbox to ask if they're interested in selling. Tools for helping in the search. Of course, I rely heavily on my phone, and you can save lists of properties in the main real estate sites like Domain, or www.domain, but I find it better to have my system independent of any particular site. Evernote is the best that I've found. It is a cloud-based organisation system, saves web clips, photos, emails, and you can save the details of the property you want to inspect there. You have a virtual assistant. You can give that person your criteria and get them to create a weekly list of properties to inspect and a run sheet and save it in Evernote. Then all you do on Saturday or whatever day you go hunting is head off with the list saved in your phone. I've been mainly talking about buying a house to renovate and sell, but if you're looking at renting the property, the app Walk Score scores properties based on the services in walking distance. The higher the score, the better. This is really handy for investment properties. Okay, so you've got the running sheet of properties. It's a good idea to take a checklist with you to make sure that you don't miss anything in the inspection. You also need to record your findings. After one or two houses, they all start to blend into one another. Discreetly taking photos of any features or interest or problems you come across can also help. Keep your cards close to your chest. The agent's job is to glean as much information from you, which he will use to structure his strategy to get you to pay as much as possible if you proceed with the property. Just don't let them know that you're holding your cards out. You need them to want to sell to you. Have a contract emailed to you, even if you are slightly interested. You're looking for properties that will fulfill your Reno blueprint, which has negatives, the majority of which you can resolve. If it has any big negatives that aren't fixable, then strike it off. The other thing you are doing is determining the value of the property. Don't take any notice of the sale price or the guide. You should have enough information to be confident of the value of the property yourself. If you find a property that you think will be one to follow up, the next step is to do some due diligence. The purpose is to identify potential and reduce risk. Don't rush in. Shortcutting here will increase your risk. When you decide to make an offer, make it subject to due diligence and finance. That way, when the contract goes unconditional, you have your finance in place and you have investigated the property thoroughly. It depends a bit on the market, but if the market is hot, you probably won't get it up. And also, if the sales by auction, the due diligence must be done up front. So getting your due diligence done involves a few things. Get your legal person, solicitor or conveyancer onto the contract and doing the appropriate legal due diligence. Make time to inspect the property with your builder or whoever you use to establish your renovation plan. Then you can explore the changes you are proposing and get advice on buildability and estimates at least on the spot. Get a building and pest report, but you also need to do your own condition report. A building inspector will generally look for major things, but there is a lot you can find yourself. If the property is older, I would get the plumber out to check the drain. Most older properties have earthenware drains, invented by the Romans. They will last undisturbed for thousands of years, but the problem is they leak at the joints, and tree roots are like bees to a honeypot, causing havoc in them. Cost about $200 for a plumber to put a fibre optic camera down and film the inside of the sewer. If there are trees, you can bet your bottom dollar there will be roots in there. This can be managed with the occasional clean with a hydroblast, but if it's really bad and the pipe's been badly damaged, digging it up and replacing it's a very expensive operation. The property has a pool, you might want to have the hydrostatic valve and the pipes to and from the pool tested. I'll leave a link for more detail on this on the replay page. You will also need a survey. Owners may have one, but if not, you'll need to get one. Also, check the sewer plan, that it reflects reality in terms of drainage and also the title for easements. Your lawyer will check for caveats and covenants, but make sure it's done. Get your virtual assistant, or do it yourself to do a Google search of the background of the property and the street. Get all relevant documents from council, including any DAs and zoning details. Also, you'll be able to access old DAs at the local council, check out that the work has been done as per the DA and that an occupation certificate has been issued. This is by no means a comprehensive account of the due diligence process, but it gives you an idea of some of the things that you need to look for.